so this is just a really fun, we're going to go ahead and go through the script, but I just wanted to walk you through it once before you actually pick a partner to practice. And you're going to actually practice a conversation. So while I'm talking to you, I want you to be thinking in your head, what is something that I've been holding back from someone significant in my life? It could be a child, a parent, a partner, just a boss, someone in your life that you're holding something back, and be thinking of it, because you get to have a practice conversation. And Tanya knows, I always encourage people to have peers and have friends that you're able to call and say, hey, Tanya, I really need to have a practice conversation, or you do have the bandwidth to hold space for me right now. And you know that if they're going to listen to you, and you're going to be talking about maybe someone that's in your circle together, but they know, and they're going to hold you accountable and say, okay, I'll have that practice conversation with you, but I'm going to check in that you talk to that person in 24, 48 hours. So you're held accountable. You're not just calling to gossip, you're not calling to vent, you're calling to actually practice this conversation, and they're going to give you some feedback, you're going to release some charge, so then you're able to actually have the conversation. And also, Tanya, I know that when I call her, she's not going to be judging the person that I'm talking about. She can hold that objective space and know, okay, that's just where Monique was at. That's just where Monique and that person were at in that moment. And so she's just holding that objective space so you can release the charge. So, for your practice conversation, what you do is you realize, okay, there's something that I'm not saying. And so, here when we've been dancing, then I've been holding back something. And so that's the first thing, is I realize, oh, I see Kara, and I haven't been saying something to you. So before I go talk to Kara, I'm going to go sit down and take 3 to 5 minutes to write up what it is that I'm not saying. And when you're writing it, you start with that piece, but when you actually say it, you say that piece last. And so I'll show you in the writing how that works. But when you're starting to write it out, you realize this is what I'm not saying. And then your next step, then you come up with 3 to 5 fears of why you're not saying it. Like, what are you afraid is going to happen if you have this conversation? And write those down. And you can have like 10, 12, 15, but you want to have 3 or 4 or 5 that you're going to be sharing with this person. And then you come up with, why do you want to tell the person this? Do you want to get closer to them? Do you want to clear it out of your head so you can have it? Like, what is it that you really, really hope to gain by sharing this with the person? And again, you're going to write 3 to 5. You can write up to 15, and you can write as many as you want, but you're only going to share 3 to 5 reasons of what you're hoping will accomplish from having this conversation. And then when you're ready, and you have all those things written down, then you go and say, Kara, I realize that I've been withholding something, and I'm wondering if you have bandwidth to hear it right now, or I'm wondering if you have space, or whatever word you want to use. It's, would you be willing to hear that right now? And it's so important. Thank you. It's so important to make sure that you do that, because if they say yes, they know that you're going to be having a conversation with them. And if they say no, it's just as important that you say, thank you for taking care of yourself. Can we have this conversation tomorrow? Or like talk about it, because by them telling you no, then they don't have the bandwidth, so they wouldn't be able to hear it right now. But if they're saying yes, then they're giving you permission to talk into it. So that already like nails 50% of your anxiety and stuff, because they're, okay, I'm ready to have a talk with you. So Kara says yes. And so, well, Kara, I'm really afraid that if I say this to you, that you're not going to want to go dancing with me anymore. And I'm kind of scared that you'll feel like, or that you won't like me, that you won't want me in your life. And I'm worried that I'll hurt your feelings. But what I'm hoping by sharing this is that we can actually get closer. And that maybe we can actually have a more intimate dance together. And I'm just really, really hoping that this will clear things so that we can have a really amazing connection. And what I haven't been telling you is, and I really don't have anything I'm holding back from here, so, but it would be whatever you're holding back in that moment. And because you front-loaded it with these questions, like so often, then we'll just go up to the person and blurt it out. Oh my gosh, I have new news. I have to tell you this. And then you try and say, but I'm afraid, or I want to do this. And by then it's too late, because you've already shared this new news, and they're already in their trigger, because they're all, what? So they can't hear anything else you say. And so if you're able to do this, and you let them know, okay, these are my fears. That before you ever tell them the news, they can hear that, so they can hear you compassionately. And then you say, this is what I'm telling you. So then they realize, wow, they really want a closer connection, or whatever it is that you want to create with them, and then you tell them the news. And then the most important part is know that you've been thinking about this for a while, and this is new news to them. So at the very end, then you say, is there anything that you'd like to say? Is there anything you'd like to share? And then hold space for them. And if they need to scream, if they need to go take a break, whatever it is that they need to do around that new information, just hold that space and let them have their say, because they're going to calm down, and then you guys can have a real conversation around it. but at least you're saying these things so they're not eating up bandwidth. So do you guys have any questions, or you want to pick a partner and have a practice conversation?